Good morning, y'all. I don't know if this is going to work here, but I'm going to try this. I wanted to share with y'all some of the things that I have went through, and some of you might think I'm completely off the wall, and some of you might get it. I'm going to be reading from my book, The Torn Veil Between Us and Them, A Supernatural Journey Through the Eyes of a Christian. But it was an experience that I had with OBEs, out-of-body experiences. This took place, I'm guessing around 2002, 2003, somewhere in there. The first place that it happened, I lived a few houses down from my mom. I was still with my children's father. It was a very bad relationship, a lot of abuse. That's when the first out-of-body experience happened. And then the second one is when I left him and had my first little town home with my children. But I'm going to read some parts from my manuscript. Like I told y'all, I don't have the book because I couldn't find the books out of storage, so it is what it is. But be patient with me. Like I said, some of you might think I'm really nuts, but it really happens, and it's something that confirms your faith in the good Lord above, and there is more to this, to just this earthly plane that we're on. So I'm gonna try to set y'all up right here. Wish I had a camera. Hope you can see me okay. Just be patient. And okay, I have to clean my glasses first. But this, like I said, that book that I had written is something like a journal, and so don't be judgmental. That's uncool. But okay, let me find it. Okay, y'all ready? Okay, I lay down and closed my eyes after only a few minutes. I was in that state between sleep and being awake. I could hear what was going on around me, like my spouse snoring, the television, and everything else that was making noise. I was not asleep yet, but kind of like in a twilight state. Something happened to me, and it happened rather quickly. I heard the sound of my heart beating, and it was almost to the point that it sounded like it came from a stereo speaker. It was so intense. I felt a sensation of being pulled all over my body. I remember this. And that is the only way I can describe it at all. It was like if you held a magnet about an inch from a refrigerator, but don't let it go. You feel the pulling sensation as the steel of the refrigerator pulls the magnet straight to it. Well, that's how I felt, like something was literally trying to pull my soul out of my body. Even if this was new to me, I was not scared. I didn't even try to open my eyes. I had a very queasy feeling deep within my chest. It was, in a split second, the pulling sensation gave one more hard, fast tug, and then I felt a popping feeling, like releasing the magnet to the icebox, but stronger. I was out of my physical body, no doubt. I found myself in a state of being I have never experienced before. I hovered over my bed, and peace came over me I can't explain. All 5 of my senses were stronger than ever, like they were intensified 1,000,000 times. I noticed my eyesight was amazing, and with its vivid colors, as I looked around the bedroom. I have never seen colors so clear in my life. I never even had a high-definition television at that time. I don't think they existed, or maybe they did. I don't know. But an HD television didn't look as good as the colors that I was seeing. Being out of my physical body. I was floating peacefully over the bed when I looked down and saw myself. I was looking down upon myself, and it was the strangest thing I've ever experienced in all my days. I looked next to my body and I saw my spouse, and next to him my little boy. That would have been Brandon. I looked back at his daddy and smiled. He's going to wake up to a corpse, I said. And at that time we were having a lot of problems between us, and somehow with my twisted humor I found it almost comical. So when we leave our physical bodies, our personalities don't change at all. We're still us. I did discover when we leave our bodies that we are still the same person. That's just what I said. We are who we are, who God made us to be forever. That is unchanging. Another thing I need to point out here is when I spoke, I did not talk with my mouth. I heard my own voice within my head, but no words from my mouth came out. It was like something I have never seen from a movie, like mental telepathy. Is that what it's called? Okay, no words spoken, but could hear them as if they were spoken within my mind. A very weird and awesome feeling at the same time. My panic, my anxiety I had experienced for years was not present as I hovered there above myself and my bed. Peace surrounded me like a warm, soft, fuzzy blanket, and I was calm and happy within myself. It was a peace beyond human understanding. I also noticed I felt highly intelligent, like I knew so much more information about everything and anything. So this is telling me when we do reach the other side, heaven, through the veil, that we as being will be so much more alive. I found a typo. Intelligence we can never comprehend when we are humans upon this earth. I felt the sense of not being alone. I turned around and I saw a bright light in the corner of the room. The light was growing brighter and brighter as I gently floated there, watching it so very closely. I knew from being raised as a Christian what was happening to me. I had died in my bed, and now I was about to cross over and go home to God and Jesus. I glanced down to my bed and saw my beautiful son and his daddy lying there beside my dead body. I turned my head around and looked back towards the beautiful light, and I said, Jesus, I don't want to die. Then it happened. In reverse and in lightning speed, I heard the loud sound of my heart starting to beat. Literally could hear my heart beating, and I was sucked back into my body with so much fire. I rose up in my bed and gasped for air. I sat there not believing but knowing what just happened to me. I just had an out-of-body experience. I have heard about OBEs before, but never gave them a second thought. The only things that ever happened to me from the supernatural realm was more along the lines of ghosts and such. Now I can't say that because I know how it feels for your soul to leave your body. A feeling of freedom, the feeling of calmness and peace I have never felt before, but will again when God calls me home. Okay, not long after that, we moved. My relationship with my children's daddy, I had had enough, and I left. And look, I do want to read this little thing. When I left that house, this is a little something that happened. The last time I walked into the house was when my children's daddy was there painting. I had already moved all of my things and the children's things out of there. He was just cleaning the place up a bit for the owner of the house. When I walked into the house, through that front door, the light bulb on the front porch exploded right after I passed underneath it. After I left the house and drove down the road and looked in my rearview mirror, I saw 2 streetlights also explode. Freaky. Was something or someone trying to tell me something, or was it a coincidence? I think not. And then it goes on to chapter 8. Chapter 8. It's called The Tunnel. After I split up from my children's daddy, the children and I moved into a small 2-bedroom townhome on Burke Road. I completely stepped out on the water of my faith, and after many years of being with someone, I found myself alone. I had no degree to get a good job, and on top of that, I'm kind of old-fashioned and wanted to stay home and raise my children. Something in this day and age that seems to not be accepted anymore. Amen to that. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and read you all of this, but I do want. I was lying on the sofa late one night, and my children were all in bed safely, and I had already said their prayers. I was watching TV and finding it hard to keep my eyes open. I was in that state between being awake and being asleep. Then it happened again. It happened again. The same feeling in my chest started up, the sensation of my soul being pulled out of my body. A magnet to a refrigerator feeling. The next thing I know, I once again heard the loud sound of my heart beating within my chest, and then it stopped. I literally heard my own heart stop. This is true, people. I promise to God. I hope so. I wrote it in the book. No, it really happened. I was pulled out of my body with such a great force. By this time, I was experiencing something way different than before. I was not floating above my own body, but being pulled upward through a tunnel. The tunnel was black, and I was being pulled upwards at a great speed as I passed flashes of lights. I figured out later the flashes of lights I passed were stars. I was literally up there. There goes my subscription numbers. I'm telling the truth, people. I heard a loud swishing sound as the chilly wind blew upon my face and swirled around my body. I do remember that. It was like, and I was being pulled upward. Not to change the subject, but I had a cousin years ago said that she had a similar experience, and she was being pulled downwards. That's not a good thing. Okay, let me get back a little bit more. This thing's getting too long. Hang on. Okay, I was pulling out of my body with great force. Okay, the tunnel that I was being pulled up to, the tunnel was black, and I was being pulled upwards at a great speed. Okay, I told about flashes. I was lying on my stomach as if I was flying, but I wasn't flying at all. I was being pulled upwards at the speed of light. The chilly wind that was howling in my ears was blowing my long straight my hair back. I couldn't feel the wind in my face, on my arms. I could feel the wind in my face, on my arms, as my eyes started blinking from the wind blowing within them, and my eyes stared straight ahead. Sorry, y'all. It's been a long time since I've done a reading. I knew all too well that this time I did die. That this time I just died, and at any moment I would be going to heaven with God. What would happen to my children if I died? They needed me so much, and I needed them too. They were young at this time. I couldn't die, not now, God. I have way too much and unfinished business yet to do. I'm looking forward to sometime going home to be with God, but I didn't want to be on that day. As much as I wanted to see Jesus face to face and see my granny again, I knew it wasn't my time to leave this earthly plane. I was still being pulled up, and at the end of, and up at, I'm sorry, y'all. I was still being pulled up and up at the speed of light, and I screamed out to God, "This is going to devastate my mother." I did not once again talk with my mouth, but within my mind. My lips didn't move. I heard my voice, but mental telepathy. Then I read years later that other people have said the same exact thing happened to them with the not speaking with the mouth. Okay, this will devastate my mother. Instantly, I stopped being pulled, and I was just hovering there in the middle of this long black tunnel with stars all around me. It was beautiful. I really should not call it a tunnel because it was a very large open space. Then it happened all in reverse as I felt myself falling downwards back to earth. Faster and faster I went as the wind swished around me and echoed in my ears. The chilly wind, I will never forget how it felt upon my skin. I started to hear my heart beat again, and then the sucking, being pulled back into my body happened. The sensation, I opened my eyes, I jumped up into a sitting position and gasped for air. God had sent me back once again, and he had decided that I was still needed here upon the earth. Some of you skeptics out there may think I have experienced a dream, but I'm telling you both times that the OBEs happened to me, and these were not dreams. They were as real as you and I now, as it happened. Things happen in this world that we cannot explain, and that goes back to what I said about God not telling us everything. He just told us enough so we could get by in this world and find our pathways home. One night not too long ago, after the last OBE, I was lying on the sofa about to doze off. That same weird sensation started up in my chest area, and I knew what was about to take place for the third time. And I did not want the third time to be the charm. There I go with my tags again, I'm sorry. And this happened. And this was in 2003 when this happened. And every once in a while, I'll feel that weird sensation in my body. Not as often anymore, but I never had another OBE. But I felt a few times like it was fixing to happen. But that's what happened to me. Death is nothing to be scared of, but you have to wait till God calls you home. You cannot decide. I don't know why God let these things happen to me, but they did. I promise they did. Out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences. I almost made it to heaven, and I had to open my big mouth. It's amazing. There's more to this world than what we see with our human eyes now. So whatever you're going through, you keep on keeping on and keep believing. And if you have any questions, leave them below. Please like, share, subscribe if you want to. But I wanted to share this with you. OBEs, out-of-body experiences. Wow. It really happened, folks. It really happened. God bless. Keep on keeping on. Later.